Welcome to the Pink Door podcast.
Great to be here.
We have a very specific mission for this deep dive. We're going to give you a clear, straightforward look at the Hingham, Massachusetts real estate market.
A market that is intensely competitive and, frankly, a little baffling right now.
Exactly. We're looking back at all the activity from November 2025.
That's right. And we're pulling this all from the RPR Market Activity Report. For anyone who doesn't know, RPR is Real Property Resource. It's the big data tool that agents really rely on.
So this is the real deal.
It is. It covers everything. Single-family homes, condos, townhouses, you name it. If you're watching the South Shore market, Hingham's November data is something you really have to dig into.
And digging in, our sources immediately flagged a massive statistical shock this month. Hingham is always pricey, we all know that, but the sudden jump in the median sold price is the absolute headline here. It really sets the tone for everything else.
It really does. It's not just a high number. It's the volatility. We're not just going to give you that eye-watering figure. We have to unpack why it moves so dramatically.
Right. What does that signal about who was buying in November?
Exactly.
Okay, let's set the scene. What kind of market are we actually looking at? Is Hingham still the fierce seller's market we've gotten used to?
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt. The easiest way to see that is with months of inventory, or MOI.
Okay.
The current MO is just 1.68 months.
1.68. And for context, a balanced market is what, 4 to 6 months?
4 to 6, yeah. So at 1.68, demand is just crushing the available supply.
What's interesting, though, what I saw in the data is that the inventory actually went up.
It did. We saw a month-over-month increase in that MOI of 24.66%.
So nearly 25%. Does that mean things are finally starting to loosen up?
It's a key point of nuance. It means more sellers came to the market in November, maybe trying to lock in a great price before the holidays. It's a little bit of breathing room.
But it's not a fundamental shift.
Not at all. A 25% increase doesn't change the game. It just means the desert got, one extra glass of water.
Yeah.
We are still deep in seller territory.
Okay, so that little inventory bump must have affected the speed of sales then. Let's talk velocity. How fast are things moving? What were the median days in RPR for November?
The median speed is still incredibly quick. We're talking 13 days on the market.
13 days, so half of everything that sold was under contract in less than 2 weeks.
That's it.
Yeah.
But this is where we see that inventory bump having a real visible impact.
Oh, how so?
Well, you're telling me the median days on market actually increased by 62.5% month over month.
That sounds huge. 62%. Is that a red flag? Is the market finally cooling down?
That is exactly the right question to ask. And that 62% sounds alarming, but you have to put it in context.
Okay.
If last month the median was, say, 8 days, and this month it's 13, the percentage jump is massive, but functionally, a house taking almost 2 weeks to sell instead of 1 is still moving at lightning speed.
So it's not a panic button, it's just a little more normal.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
It just suggests buyers had a weekend or two to think instead of feeling like they had to make a same-day offer.
Okay, so pressure is easing just a tiny bit, but the market is still extremely fast. This brings us back to the headline number, the price. If things are taking a little longer to sell, what on earth is happening to prices?
Right.
What was the November 2025 median sold price?
Okay, get ready for some statistical whiplash here. The median sold price for November was $1,562,500.
Wow, 1.56 million. That's a staggering figure, especially when you compare it to last month.
It's extreme. We saw a massive 44.01% jump just from October.
44%.
In a month.
Yeah, from October's median of $1,085,000.
Yeah.
This is not normal appreciation. This is a statistical event.
Okay, we have to spend a minute on this because a 44% increase in home value in 30 days just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The key here is that this tells us about the composition of sales,
Yeah.
right? Not the value of one single home. Absolutely. That is the most important takeaway. Think of it like this. The median is just the middle point of all the sales.
Right.
If that middle point jumps by nearly $500,000 in a month, it means the mix of homes that closed in November was heavily weighted toward the multi-million-dollar luxury end of the market.
So fewer starter homes or smaller condos sold and a lot more high-end estates closed.
Exactly. They sold, pulling that statistical middle point way up. It's about the clientele that closed in November, not an individual property's value suddenly exploding.
And if we zoom out, that number, $1,562,500, It also shows Hingham's long-term strength. That's nearly double the value from 3 years ago.
A 96.54% increase from 2022, when the median was about $795,000. It signals incredible long-term confidence in the town.
But that short-term volatility must create headaches, especially for appraisal.
Oh, huge headaches.
Yeah.
Which brings up a critical point. If the sold price is spiking like this, what's the stable underlying value of a typical home?
That's where the median estimated property value comes in, right?
Precisely. This number is based on models and steady trends, not these crazy monthly spikes. And that estimated value is currently at $1,307,330.
So much lower than the actual sold price?
Way lower. And look at its growth. That stable estimated value only grew by 0.2% last month.
0.2%, and just 2.9% over the whole last year.
Right. So we have this paradox. The models show stable, healthy growth, but the actual deals being done are spiking. So if you're a buyer, what does the appraiser even do? Do they use the steady $1.3 million estimate or the aggressive $1.56 million November sales?
And that difference can create a huge appraisal gap that the buyer has to cover in cash.
It's a huge gap. It just shows that to operate in Hingham, you have to look past the headline and understand which part of the market is on fire.
Speaking of which, with this kind of pricing, do buyers have any negotiating power left at all?
Very, very little. The sold-to-list price ratio in November was 98.3%.
So on average, buyers are paying just 1.7% under the asking price.
And even that small margin is shrinking. That ratio is up 1.59% month over month. So buyers are finding it harder and harder to chip away at the asking price, even at these multi-million-dollar levels. The seller leverage is incredibly strong.
Okay, let's pivot a little to inventory. What's actually for sale right now? If the median sold price was $1.56 million, what are sellers currently asking for?
This is where you really see the high-end character of Hingham. The median list price for everything on the market in November was way higher than the sold price. It was sitting at $2,290,000.
$2.29 million. That's a what? A $730,000 gap between what things are listed for and what they're actually selling for. What does that tell you?
It tells you about the inventory mix. Hingham always has a supply of these truly ultra-luxury bespoke homes that sit on the market a little longer and pull that median list price way up.
So the stuff under $2 million is selling fast, but the $2.5 million plus inventory creates that gap.
Exactly. And we did see the median list price dip just a tiny bit by about 2.55%, which might just mean fewer of those brand new ultra-exclusive listings hit the market in November.
So to give everyone a clearer picture, let's look at some specific examples from the last 3 months of data. That should smooth out some of the November volatility.
Good idea. Starting with new listings over the past 90 days, the median was $1,337,000. But the range is just massive.
Give us an example of the high end.
Sure, you had 10 Chestnut Place, a newer 3-bed, 4-bath home built in 2022, listed for $2,290,000. That's a prime example of that upper middle segment.
But there are still entry points into the market, even if they're rare.
They are rare, but they exist. You also saw a 1-bed condo at 10 Beals Cove Road, listed for $398,000. So the market really does cover a huge spectrum.
And that price spectrum is tied directly to how fast things go under contract.
Directly. If we look at the 10 properties that went pending, the time on market was all over the place. You have a spectacular custom home at 86 Black Rock Drive.
That's a big one.
Yeah, pending at $5.1 million. That one took 234 days to find the right buyer.
Which makes sense. That's a custom product with a very small buyer pool.
Exactly. But now contrast that with something more in the competitive sweet spot. A single-family home at 3 Howland Lane went pending in just 4 days.
4 days.
So if a property is priced right in that $1 to $2 million bracket, it is just flying off the shelf. That's where the fierce competition is.
Okay, now let's look at what actually closed over the last 3 months.
So smoothing out that aggressive November number, the 90-day median close price was $1,007,500.
A little over $1 million. That feels like the real pulse of the market.
I think so. And still very fast. A median of 22 days on the market. We saw 2 Hoover Road, a 5-bed single family, close for over $1.3 million in just 22 days. That's competition defined.
And even the more accessible properties are moving.
Right. A smaller unit at 6 Beals Cove Road closed for $316,000 in just 29 days. So there is strong buyer commitment at every single price point.
Okay, moving to a few market nuances. We have to touch on distressed properties. You don't really think of foreclosure when you think of Hingham.
You don't, but the data showed 5 distressed properties in the recent summary. Things like a newly filed complaint or a notice of foreclosure sale.
And what does that tell us?
It's important to note that even in a place with skyrocketing values, individual financial circumstances can still lead to trouble. A single family at 5 Fulling Mill Lane, for instance, had a notice of foreclosure sale.
So it's a reminder that the high median price doesn't mean perfect stability for every single homeowner.
Right. And those properties often become unique opportunities for cash investors.
And finally, just to round out the picture, a quick word on the lease market.
Yeah, the rental market just confirms the town's luxury profile. The sources showed some really high-end lease activity.
Like what?
A 4-bed, 6-bath, single-family home at 25 Cushing Avenue was available to rent for $15,000 a month.
$15,000.
A month. A month.
Wow.
It implies a true luxury package, fully furnished, premium location, bespoke finishes. It just reinforces that the capacity for high-value spending exists across Hingham's entire housing spectrum, buying or leasing.
Okay, let's put it all together. What's the core story of Hingham in November 2025? It feels like a month of contradictions.
It really is. The core narrative is one of market bifurcation.
Meaning?
We saw these tiny increases in inventory and a slight cooling of velocity. Homes took a bit longer to sell, even if that meant 13 days instead of 8.
Right.
But at the same time, the median sold price absolutely rocketed up by 44%. That tells us that while there was minor relief in the general market, the high net worth buyers were competing ferociously for the most expensive listings, and they closed those deals in November.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to chew on. If the median list price is actually decreasing slightly, while the median sold price is rocketing up to nearly $1.6 million, does that mean the Hingham market is seeing fewer brand new ultra high-end listings hitting the market, but at the same time is seeing even more competition for everything priced under $2 million?
It means the true heat, the real bidding wars, are focused just beneath that highest luxury tier. That's the dynamic you need to watch.
Something to track closely heading into the new year.
For sure.
Navigating a market with this much volatility, where the median price can shift 44% in a single month, it really requires expert local guidance. If you have any questions about today's episode, or if you are thinking about buying or selling a house anywhere on Boston's South Shore from Southie to Sagamore, give Jim Aldred a call. His expertise is just crucial for understanding these local trends. He would love to help you.
You can reach Jim Aldred, Realtor, on his mobile at 339-987-0382, or email him at jimaldredrealtor@yahoo.com.
You can also visit his website at www.kwmass.com. Jim Aldred holds Massachusetts real estate license. #955-5465. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on the Pink Door Podcast.